Hi, welcome back to the Yonaha podcast. My name is Ethan. I'm the founder and creative director. You can check out my clothing at yonaha.net. And today I am hosting Impound Comics.
How you doing, brother?
I am doing good. You want to tell us who you are? Just kind of give whoever watches this a good idea of what you do.
Brent Sands, the writer and the creator of an indie comic book series company called Impound Comics. We are based out of Sacramento, California. We have currently have 6 different series, and we're just building a comic book universe.
And I'm very excited about what you're doing. It's really rare to see indie comics blow up. And like I saw you have your own like real storefront. You have your own franchises and like you said, trading cards. I saw that you have an episode of an anime version of Impound. And did I also hear about a possible movie?
There will be a movie one day. There's not one currently in the makings. We shot a live action movie trailer, kind of like more so as just a proof of concept if we had to finish a movie, but we're not actually working on anything live action at the moment.
All good. I myself am an animator. I want to get into live action one day, but right now it's like, being a one man army, I feel like it's easier to do this. I'm also a fantasy person, so it's like I don't want to build real robots to shoot films. I'd rather do CG and make it look real.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love what you do. It's nice to see someone entrepreneurial that's like doing all the things you're doing. You want to give a brief description of Impound for people that like are looking for something new to read?
Impound is a MMA fighter who gets put up against someone that's represented by the mafia of his city. A conflict between him and them begins, and he has to become more to overcome them. It's more of a vengeance story. He is a kind of more so on the lines of a vigilante and an anti-hero more than a superhero. But his story kind of is the regaining of his humanity and eventually becoming more of a traditional superhero. It started with just him, and then we started out seeing opportunity for other characters and stories to keep expanding and branching off the universe, which is why it's still named after him, because it was only supposed to be about him in the beginning. But now we, become much more.
Yeah. So I don't even know what order I want to ask these in. What got you into comics? Have you always been a fan?
As a creator or a fan?
Either one. Or both.
I don't know what got me into them as a fan. I would say the first thing I remember loving was Ninja Turtles as a kid. And then Ninja Turtle turned into Power Rangers, and, it was always Spider-Man and Hulk and, Spawn, things like that. Those are like my early years of in the 90s, my first kind of like things I was just attached to. And then it was just like subconsciously always a thing, as I got a little older. I was into anime, it was the Dragon Ball Z rave, the Pokemon rave. And then it was just always just a thing, that I enjoyed. And not just comics. I wouldn't ever say it was really comics per se. It was just kind of like fiction and science fiction. I would say my favorite storytelling overall is Game of Thrones. So, at the end of high school, I started writing ideas that I was getting in the form of either a movie or in the form of like a novel, not a graphic novel, like words, like a, chapter book.
Yeah.
And later in life, I couldn't figure out how to get any of that either proofread at a professional level because it was so many words, or get the movie adapted. And then when I watched Black Panther 1, that's when I kind of got the idea of why don't I make it a comic book first? And then my character Impound was born as a comic book character versus before him, all I was writing was chapter books and movie scripts.
Yeah. It must feel amazing to watch that unfold and come to life like that. I don't meet many artists where all their ideas actually get adapted the way yours have, and it must have been the greatest feeling.
the crazier part is, the stuff that I not saying I don't want to do this, but I've always had like a film project in the chamber of what I want to do, which would be like my favorite thing to do. And I haven't been able to adapt it yet,
Yeah.
Kind of, got stuck in, not stuck. I'm very happy and excited about everything that we're doing. But now I'm more focused, I would say, on comic book itself, and it's adapting this universe. And I still have hundreds of other ideas that I still want to do at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, well,
I would say I actually held the Impound book in my hand. That was probably the most like exciting or like beautiful part of the journey of, it's not just an idea anymore. It's an actual physical thing I can touch. I'm literally touching it for the first time. That was incredible.
yeah.
And then to release it and for it to be well received was even better feeling, because I would say I had no expectations when I first released Impound. I can't even say I was dedicated to a point that I wanted it to be a business. I was just doing what I said I was going to finally do. And a hobby became a business. I would have did it for free, but fortunately enough, I don't have to anymore.
Yeah, and that's the right mindset to have about it, but I am glad it is a business because it's getting so much recognition and, finally some good representation in like superhero media that's not just like Marvel or DC, which they don't have much of that. But it's exciting, and also that business can build into you being able to do your film ideas. Like if you can eventually get to the point where you pay people to do the part that you're doing now, then you could put your focus onto those other ideas.
And that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal of it all, is to, we're laying out the foundation right now. I look at Impound Comics. Sometimes I don't call it Impound Comics. I want to call it like more like just an Impound like media or One Day Studios, because we're gonna be like, I look at it like Disney. Disney was just built on kids' animations, and now it's Star Wars, it's Marvel, it's so much more. It's not like as immature as it always was perceived. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I look like, as Impound Studios, we might do a LeBron James documentary one day. Why not? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just all around media.
Yeah, as a multimedia artist, I totally get you. It's like I've always wanted to be a musician. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I've always wanted to be an animator. I design clothing. I draw. I paint. I do photography. I want to do voice acting. Like it's crazy because everyone's always saying you got to pick one thing and be good at it, and I'm like, I am incapable of doing one thing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to do anything. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I'm a one man army, and one day I'll be a big army so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's more of, I would say, when people say that, that you have to pick one thing. No, you don't. You do have to focus on what's working.
Yeah.
But as soon as that gets established, you know what I mean, you keep going. And even with that, it might not, like me, I guess I'm focused on the one thing, but we also have a mobile game. We also have an animation. We also have books. It is all pushing in the same direction, the same character, but we're not doing one thing for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what gets me excited. I feel like a lot of artists don't think business, and I get it. I get why they don't. But like, we live in, the present where you have to have the business mindset to make your art succeed.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I'm taking, like, we're trying to take mine, but I'm not great at the social media part, which is my biggest downfall right now, but I'm trying to get used to it so that I could build up my brand and also work on my films and make music and all those other things I want to do. And in a way, I really look up to you for what you're doing, and I'm excited to, I'm part of your server now, and I see all your tweets and all your TikToks. It's I'm excited to see the progression of things, and maybe one day, hopefully, I can help work on your movie.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope, man. Just putting it together. Literally, I always tell people, just doing it one book at a time, literally.
Yeah. Let's see. This is more of a just I want to know question. Marvel or DC?
I like Marvel's heroes. I like DC's villains.
That is fair.
So I don't have a favorite hero in DC at all.
Yeah.
You know what I can't stand DC heroes. I don't like any of them. And it's like sometimes people see that on TikTok. I'm not a fan of Batman, Superman, none of them, but I love Gotham. You know what I mean?
I got you, yeah. Here's the thing with me. If Spider-Man didn't exist, I wouldn't care for Marvel at all.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is Marvel to me. And I do love Batman, but like he has to be adapted a certain way for me to like him. And I know you said that the Batman movie was like really like not entertaining for you. I loved that movie because it's like I don't know. I guess I just like mystery, drama, thriller, stuff like that, and not really superhero movies because a lot of Marvel's movies lately have been boring me to death.
Yeah. And well, I love Batman's movies. He probably has my favorite solo movies overall.
Yeah.
This one was just I don't know. I was just too. I don't know.
It is quite long. Like I rewatched it not too long ago, and I was like, "Wow, this feels." It takes.
Well, it was that Riddler is my least favorite person, even worse than Batman. Like I just look at Riddler as just like almost like the Walmart version of the Joker. Like it's almost like. And then I look at Riddler like he has to be attached to another villain. Like when they did the other movie with in the '90s. Jim Carrey was Riddler.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool because he was under Two-Face. So I thought that there was going to be that sort of connection with Penguin. But then Penguin was like the insignificant character, and then it was really about the Riddler.
Yeah. I can see that. I like the Riddler, but I think that they, the major flaw with him was the big, like, blowing up the seawall thing. Because they made him a villain that I could understand. It's like he hated the powers that be because they kept people like him poor. And, like, they always got away with it because they were behind closed doors. They're working with Falcone. They're working with the Penguin. The police protect them and don't care about the people, and the crime gets worse and worse. And above all that, the Waynes, the heart of Gotham, were the people that funded all of this. And it's like that made it such a good, like, concept where Batman is the product of the people that ruined the city and he's trying to be the savior of the city. But like, having Riddler be a villain that I could completely understand in that way, like, and then he just blows up the seawall and suddenly tons of innocent people are drowning. I'm like, you lost me there.
Yeah, it was just a little weird.
Yeah.
And then they announced the next villain for the next one. And I'm like, great. The only other villain I think I hate as much as Riddler is
Scarecrow. I think Scarecrow was done well in the Arkham games.
Yeah, and Scarecrow's kind of cool too. Like, I mean, I love Batman Begins. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there was just a bigger thing going on that I appreciate. It's just like, man, I want Bane, Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin. And then I even want Freeze.
Yeah, I have a sour taste for Mr. Freeze because of Arnold.
Arnold, yeah.
Like, yeah, that was such an odd casting, especially because Mr. Freeze is such a tragic character.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
I'm excited to see what they do for the sequel, but like, it probably won't be as good as the first one. I'm just thinking. But
I like was it the actor? What's his name? Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. Yes. I think he did an amazing job as Batman, though.
Yeah, he was an interesting Bruce Wayne. I think that they're gonna make him kind of mature into the Bruce Wayne that we're more familiar with. But right now, he's just reclusive because he's not used to being Batman.
Yeah, because it's like Bruce Wayne can either go two ways. Like he either shows that he is actually kind of as insane as the villains. He just picked the right side, or like the other Bruce Wayne is like not like as much as like Tony Stark. You know what I mean? But a little more presents himself as the opposite of Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool too. But all around though, I love Gotham. I think I inspired a lot of what I was presenting Sacramento as, like a Gotham. Was the idea of it, a darker. I just like darker characters.
Yeah. I definitely agree. There's a good video essay on how Christopher Nolan's version of Gotham was like its own entity. It was its own character. It was a city that is corrupt. And I think that the Pattinson's Batman Gotham is a lot darker, and I think it's a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to more Impound stuff. What advice would you give to young or new comic book writers? What got you from the idea to the actual production? Like,
I mean, gotta just do it. The hardest part is starting. Like, everyone always wants to tell me, like, oh, I have this idea, and it's like, okay, well, now get past to the next step. People. The main thing I would say, the main issue that I run into with inspiring creators is everyone thinks get to a point and then someone's supposed to do something for you. Or there's a point where they feel like, all right, I'm supposed to reach out now. I'm supposed to get someone who does this to help me do this. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
You have to do it. No one's going to want to do anything until you prove what you have is worth working on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
The social media thing, it's like nobody cares what I do, what I say. It's super hard to get the recognition, but like I'm working on it and I'm not giving up on it, but I know that it's going to take a lot.
It's all you, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can expect from anybody.
Yeah.
And when you're doing things, stuff starts coming into falling in line, like with unintentionally. It's never what you expect it to be. Like right now, we're going to be doing a comic book manual, if you will. It's not going to be a first. I don't know if it's going to be a first, but it's going to be first in our city, at least, where we're adapting a comic book for public transportation in Sacramento, like safety and how to do it. And they want to do it to show kids how to do public transportation. The city is giving us a big budget to do it, way more than what it costs to make a book, and so that's cool.
That is very cool.
For that, you know what I mean? Now, no, it's not something I want Impact Comics to become as a business, but this is helping us do other things that I do want to do, and it's just through repetition. Promoting is 90% of your company, and then it doesn't matter what your story is, how good it is. No one cares. Everyone wants to feel like they have the most original idea. The sad reality is you don't.
Yeah.
Everything's been written. You just need to write yours in a way that it means a lot to you. It has a twist on it, and package it up and make sure your presentation is perfect.
Yeah.
And that's really how you do it. It's not about
I think the phrase I often hear is it's not about the brand, it's about the marketing.
Yeah, it is about the brand. It's not about it's not as much about the product, sadly.
Yeah.
Like the brand would be, Impound Comics, and I think that when people hear that it sounds already engaging. So that I would say the brand matters, but what's in the books, that matters as well after you attract them. You have to pull attention first. That's really what I'm trying to say is what's in there is not going to pull attention. That keeps attention, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it's tough to get to the part where you actually make impressions on people.
Yes, that's the tough part.
Because it's like, I don't know, I've spent money on ads. I've done all kinds of stuff. I constantly try to interact on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and blah, blah, blah. And it feels like I'm completely invisible sometimes. Like, it's kind of like nauseating how, like, there's this infinite space with, like, billions of people on it, and yet, like, nobody sees what you're trying to say. And I wonder, how long was it like that for you before it started to pick up? Like,
I would say, unfortunately, not unfortunate for me, but the honest truth is mine was a little more instant. And I don't think I've ever... Impound 1 came out 2 years and 2 weeks ago now. I would say at no point did I ever feel like people weren't engaged, but I also launched in the pandemic when more people were on the internet than ever before, I also made sure I launched with the best possible work that I could with. And man, what was the last thing I was just going to tell you? I just had my marketing scheme together. So when I launched Impound as Sacramento's first superhero. That was just the narrative that I was putting out there. And the city of Sacramento took to that immediately, because that was something no one's ever heard of. And so that's what I mean of the marketing is the part that you have to do. You can't just post a hero, and say this is the hero. Because the first thing people do is either don't see it or find who they're going to compare your hero to. That's
Oh yeah.
But
everything I do gets compared to something else. It's crazy.
Fine. You know what I mean? That's you're not alone on that. I just don't take offense to it. But that's just that's part of it. And who cares? I mean, when you look at The Boys, Homelander is obviously a Superman clone. Obviously.
Yeah. The evil Superman is a trope now.
And that's what makes it cool though too. There's and as long as you're open to your inspirations, people accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's more like I get compared to things that I wasn't inspired by, and then I just feel like they're making a lazy generalization of my work.
I just posted Malice. I just posted a video on Malice on my TikTok, and someone said, that's just Kratos. And I'm like, Kratos?
They're obviously saying that because God of War just came out.
That's what it's like. And someone commented that. Someone said, you're just saying that because God of War just came out.
Yeah.
It's like, this dude has on a helmet. He has fire surrounding his body. It's shorts, like MMA shorts. I was like, where do you see this ancient god?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a DM of a character that's like basically my baby. He's a little robot that I made for a short film I'm working on, and you'll tell me what the first thing you think of when you see it. There's only one answer. Everyone says the same answer. WALL-E, yes. Yeah. Everybody compares it to WALL-E. And I'll point out the differences. He doesn't have binocular eyes. He's not on treads, blah, blah, blah. But, like, he's a little robot. He's WALL-E. Everything. Yeah. Every time people see him, oh, is that WALL-E? Like, it drives me mad. I used to do, like, 3D spaceships and stuff. And, oh, is that Star Wars? Like, nothing. I'm like, can you guys let me make something?
Well, that's the toughest part, man, is breaking what people are just used to. That's hard. Getting your own identity. But it's also, you got to also realize when people compare your work, that means it looks interesting as that work. You know what I mean? It's also, people don't really want 100% original as much as they say they do, as much as that's what like a lot of people complain about. That's why they just keep making Spider-Man movies. That's why they just keep making Batman movies, because ultimately people just stick with what they're familiar. That's why The Boys could be successful, because it's familiar to Justice League in another way. That's why Invincible is even kind of in a lot of ways a Superman clone story. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. You know, it's Star Wars worked because of Star Trek. You know, Marvel works because of DC. And they constantly tell you, this character was inspired by this one, and they're inspiring each other, take each other's characters, and that's sadly but surely keeps the engine rolling.
Yeah.
So I didn't take offense that someone compares your work to a legendary creation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to get my film done so people can actually tell the difference in character.
It could just say that looks like crap.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you're at least in good shape that, you know, it's something like that, but it's never gonna stop. You know, it's just you weave out the people. Certain people become fans. You know, I got into a point where when we post stuff, you know, someone says something stupid and a bunch of kids are going to attack them for me. You know what I mean? So that's like really cool. That's like, you know, we're our message is being received with a large group of people who, are accepting us. But it's just repetition, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. But also an amazing marketing strategy, because I was going to say naming Impound Sack's first superhero was the best thing I could have did out the gate.
Yeah, that sounds like a really smart way of doing it. And I'm glad it worked for you. I'm not saying you should suffer the way I'm suffering, because like it's like, I think what's hurting me worse than being compared to other things is not hearing any feedback at all. And it's like, one day I'm gonna strike gold. I just gotta keep doing it. And
I've realized most of the people who comment aren't the people who would care anyways.
Yeah. And yeah, no, like the mean comments, at least they're giving me publicity. Yeah. But it's rare that I get any at all. But I'm also not very active on TikTok. I'm trying to be, but like the time just slips away, and I'm not going to make any excuses for it, but I'm going to try to do better. Because like YouTube.
It took me a while for TikTok to get good. TikTok's very different than Instagram. And for a long time, I was just reposting reels from Instagram to TikTok, and it wasn't doing anything. And then one time I just did a video where I explained Impound from top to bottom. And then I checked it a few weeks later, and it had more views than I ever got. Like, it was like around like 8K, 10K, something like that. And then I just kept explaining every character one at a time. What it was inspired by, what his power sets are, what is, who it is. And I just throw that punch, over and over again. And it was interesting to people.
Yeah, I noticed that once I follow somebody for a video I really like, I realize they do make that same video day after day. Like, especially people like lifestyle people, they're like, here's my daily routine. And then they eat the same breakfast, and they do the same yoga thing. And then they, go to the gym or whatever. And I'm like, you're going to make the same video every day, and it's going to get 10 to 50,000 views every time. I guess that's the way to do it.
Yeah, TikTok is very one-directional with their algorithm.
Yeah. But like the views on TikTok are just so much faster and like more spontaneous than YouTube. Because I've been pushing at YouTube for nearly a year, and sometimes it's like you'll hit a couple hundred, and sometimes you'll get like 12.
Yeah, YouTube is the most difficult.
Yeah,
I've had my YouTube as long as anything else. I definitely had it before my TikTok. And we're just now about to get close to breaking 5K subscribers. And most of that came from our recent anime.
Yeah, which well deserved, because that's super impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we only had like 1,200 subscribers when I announced it was coming on there. And then, now it's growing. But the reels work really well on there too. It's kind of like TikTok, but YouTube is by far the toughest platform. But if you get it going, it's also the best financially.
Yeah, I just cracked 600 subscribers after 11 months of uploading. And, it's me and my cousin. We do video essays on stuff. And it's like, I'm trying to like establish a brand, but I'm also trying to make a bunch of mutuals that like art and film and stuff. Yeah. Because I'm a filmmaker and I want to like have that community and stuff. It's maybe my big issue is that I kind of do a little bit of everything and not just focus on the thing that works, because I haven't found the thing that works yet.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You just keep throwing stuff up there until something sticks, though.
Yeah.
It's never what you thought it was gonna be. I'll be like, this is the one that's gonna do it, and it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, some video I didn't spend any time on is the one that goes viral. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. What would you consider to be your biggest mistake so far?
I
see you said your biggest like success was like saying Sax for a superhero. Would you say there's any like big mistake you made that you wish you did differently? I feel like,
mistakes, but nothing that I would say is so catastrophic. Kickstarter, I think I didn't understand it well enough, or I thought I did. And when I did a Kickstarter campaign, we hit our goal, but I wanted to exceed that goal. So definitely that was a little disappointing. And we opened up a second store. And the second store is kind of feeling a little like up in the air right now, but nothing that I would say like I think has hindered us. It's just more like it needs an adjustment. It's gonna
Yeah.
stuff like that happen.
Yeah. I only asked that question because I feel like, you know, a lot of people getting into this probably don't foresee what things could go wrong and would like to learn from someone that's past that point what to look out for.
Yeah. I mean, I just, like I said, and we've said is, I just look for what's working.
Yeah.
And I like to have as many different options as possible, which is why we went the way of the mobile game. Now we're in animation books because people will be fans of your characters through different outlets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was a super fan of Ninja Turtles because of the game, but I was a fan of Power Rangers because of the show. You know what I mean? Harry Potter because of the books. So you just don't know how people are going to find you and love what you do. So don't give it. Don't. My theory was not to limit to how they could reach Impound.
Yeah, and that's what I really really admired that. And like when I heard about the trading cards and the mobile game and all that stuff, I'm like, wow, this guy is like making it. Like,
because it's like I think about like how big Pokemon was just off the cards alone. You know what I mean? Like that could have just been. They had multiple businesses that they were the leaders of, like at the same time. And once one went, they all went. So that's what I think. And it's like it doesn't hurt you to have it available. Once it's done, it's available. It might come back full circle in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited for the future for myself and for your stuff. I'll definitely always be paying attention. For the mobile game, what's like the play style? Is it like a top down game? Is it like a fighter?
It's like the Ninja Turtles game. You know, it's like the old. That's exactly like that game. And I don't know if you ever played the Simpsons game, but it's a mix of those. And then I like to think of kind of like Call of Duty Zombies because it's not multiple levels. It's like a wave game. You know what I mean? So once you defeat all the enemies in this wave, more come in the second wave, third wave, so on and so forth.
Well,
and there's no like beating the game. It's just how many people you can kill and how high of
how
a level
far you can go. Yeah, I like COD Zombies was one of my favorite things to play.
Yeah, me too. I get really good.
I think that after this game, if you do another mobile game, you should definitely do a Street Fighter style game with the characters.
Yeah, we're working on that one.
Oh yeah, no, like I love that you're on top of everything. I'm like I wish you could mentor me.
No, I appreciate you. No, we're working on a full Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat 1v1 fighting game at the moment. I posted a animation a couple months ago of what Impound looked like.
Is it like a sprite thing, or is it more like 3D?
Yeah, it was 3D. Yeah, and then I'm gonna be posting. Not posting. I'm supposed to have the Seraph model by next week, and then it's gonna take a while. I don't imagine we'll be done within a year. You know what I mean? But we're in the process of doing that, and I just look at it like while we're doing that, we have all this time to just keep growing our audience, and by the time it comes out, we'll already be a bigger company.
Yeah. So you don't illustrate. You didn't even illustrate the first one, right? You. Oh. Welcome back.
Yeah, I think the phone disconnected for a second.
You're good. I was asking. So you had even like all the way back to the first chapter. You had it illustrated by somebody else.
I don't know how to draw at all.
I struggle. I want to write my own manga with the little Wally character that everyone calls Wally. I have a big story planned out. It's this huge, near future world. Everything's kind of overly industrialized, and it's like a very like a character drama that takes place in like a world full of like war and all kinds of crime and whatnot. But that's a whole other thing. It's like I want to learn how to draw it myself, but I already am doing so many things. I'm like, how did you approach getting it illustrated by another person, and was it expensive?
I got them overseas, so it wasn't expensive as I thought that the illustrations could be. That was part of the reason why I decided to do it, because it was affordable. But I just looked through I was looking on things like Fiverr, Upwork
Yeah.
app, and then it takes a while because I wasn't gonna just take any art style. I didn't want to have like the approach of this is good enough for now and then we'll get better. I wanted it to look exactly like how I pictured it the first time I saw it. So that's what took a while, was finding someone that could do that, at my rate. And then I got lucky quick, and found two people actually. And then people started reaching out to me. Now illustrators, they just send me their work all the time. I'm always looking for illustrators that can develop it, at least in our art style. There's a lot of good illustrators that ask me, but they don't fit, the vibe of what we look like.
Yeah.
But it's always something I'm willing to try to do, because I have still a ton of characters that are on hold.
Yeah. I really like the illustrations. At first, I thought you drew them all yourself and everything, and I watched a couple of things, and I found out you got them illustrated. I was just like, how did you do that without like $1 billion laying around?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't nearly that much.
But I know that people are with skills are waiting around for clients and stuff. So do the same people do like all of your comics, or is it a bunch of illustrators just doing the same style?
Um, well, so we have 5 illustrators, and then 4 of the 5 have similar styles, and then one of them does our kids book, so his is way more cartoon looking. But it was just a coincidence they were similar, at least similar enough that you wouldn't notice the difference that much.
Yeah.
But it was after I found the first 2, I went through a ton to find a third one.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you keep getting lucky. That's super awesome. I'm just looking at your profile picture. I'm like, that is some very fine work.
Thank you. Yeah, man. And then literally one book at a time, man.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to ask. We're at 37 minutes. That's a good enough length episode. Is there anything you want to say? Some words of wisdom, or
Man, just like I said, the hardest part is starting. If you have an idea, put it on paper, and once that's done, get it adapted. There's not really any excuses in today's world. Don't expect anyone to do anything for you, and keep your dream going.
All right. Yeah. I resonate with that. Yeah, it's you expect things to just start working, but you actually have to do so much on your own.
Absolutely, 100%, man.
But I wanna also turn my intellectual property into a bunch of things like the kids book, the trading cards, the mobile games, whatever. I just need to find the right people and build my audience. So I'm very inspired. I think my favorite thing about doing this podcast is that I keep talking to people that make me want to work harder.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
You got to pull information from wherever you can find it.
All right. Well, it's great. I'm gonna I hope to continue talking to you. I'll be in your server, interacting with the people in there. But yeah, I think this will make a pretty great episode. I'm probably gonna cut it into snippets for my social media.
All good, brother. Yeah, just let me know, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you too. Thank you. And thank you to my audience for listening this far, and subscribe to the channel and go to impoundcomics.com, and you'll find him on Instagram and everywhere else. Support his comics. It's time that something rivals Marvel and DC.
Absolutely.
And I hope to see it adapted into a film. That'll be very cool.
A matter of when.
Yeah, a matter of when.